When Light Yagami died, many viewers expected his story to end. After all, the man who had spent years playing God had finally been defeated, his enemies had won, his secrets had been exposed, and Ryuk himself had written Light's name in the Death Note. Yet for many fans, a far more interesting question emerged after the credits rolled. What happened next? Did Light simply cease to exist? Did he go somewhere beyond human understanding? Or did the most famous Death Note user receive a fate unlike any other? To answer these questions, we must return to one of the most mysterious concepts in all of Death Note, Mu. Throughout the series, Ryuk repeatedly mentions that humans who use the Death Note can neither go to heaven nor hell. For years, fans interpreted this statement as a special punishment. It sounded as if Death Note users were being denied an afterlife because of their actions. Since Light had used the notebook more than anyone else, many viewers assumed he was destined for some terrible fate. However, the manga later reveals something unexpected. Heaven and hell do not actually exist in the Death Note universe. Instead, every human being ultimately arrives at the same destination regardless of whether they were good, evil, rich, poor, heroic, or monstrous. That destination is known as Mu. Mu can be translated as nothingness. In simple terms, it means complete non-existence. No reward, no punishment, no paradise, no torture, no second chance. Just nothing. This revelation completely changes the meaning of Ryuk's statement. Humans who use the Death Note do not go to heaven or hell, because nobody goes to heaven or hell. Every person eventually reaches the same end. From a philosophical perspective, this is one of the darkest ideas in Death Note. Light spent years judging humanity. He decided who deserved life and who deserved death. He imagined himself standing above ordinary people. Yet according to the rules of the Death Note universe, Light's final destination is exactly the same as everyone else's. For all his power, all his intelligence, and all his ambition, he could not escape the same fate waiting for everyone else. But many fans refused to believe that such an important character would simply vanish. That is where one of Death Note's most famous theories begins. Years after the original story ended, fans began noticing something strange about a mysterious Shinigami appearing in supplementary material in certain adaptations. The figure looked different from other gods of death. While most Shinigami possessed bizarre designs and grotesque appearances, this particular one seemed oddly familiar. People immediately started comparing the figure to Light Yagami. The similarities were difficult to ignore. The Shinigami appeared to wear clothing resembling Light's style. Certain facial features seemed unusually similar. The posture reminded fans of Light. Even the behavior felt different from other Shinigami. Then viewers noticed something even more interesting. The figure appeared to have a connection to Ryuk, and that observation sent the theory into overdrive. According to supporters of the theory, Light did not enter nothingness after death. Instead, he was somehow transformed into a Shinigami. Rather than disappearing forever, he continued existing in the realm of the gods of death. What evidence do fans use to support this idea? One of the biggest pieces of evidence comes from Light's final moments. Near the end of the anime, Light is wounded and struggling to escape. After being shot, he moves slowly through the building and down a staircase. His movements are uneven. He appears weak and exhausted. Many viewers notice that his walk resembles the movement style later associated with the mysterious Shinigami figure. Another similarity involves his clothing. Throughout much of the series, Light is frequently shown wearing formal attire, including a coat and tie. Fans have pointed out visual elements that appear to mirror this appearance in the mysterious figure. Then there is the smile. Light's smile became one of the defining images of Death Note. Whether he was outsmarting opponents or celebrating a victory, his confident grin represented his belief in his own superiority. Certain fans argue that traces of this expression can also be seen in the mysterious Shinigami. Individually, these similarities might mean nothing. Together, they create an intriguing possibility. Was the figure intentionally designed to remind viewers of Light, or was it simply a coincidence? Nobody knows for certain. And the creators never officially confirmed the theory, yet even without confirmation, it remains one of the most popular Death Note discussions ever created. Another reason the theory became so popular involves symbolism, particularly staircase symbolism. Throughout literature, film, and mythology, staircases often represent transitions between states of existence. They can symbolize movement between life and death, Light's final staircase sequence has been analyzed countless times. Some fans interpret the scene as representing Light's separation from the human world. The staircase becomes a visual metaphor. As he climbs and descends through the structure, he appears caught between identities. Some viewers believe the staircase represents Light's final journey toward nothingness. Others believe it symbolizes his transformation into something else entirely. Neither interpretation has been officially confirmed, but both demonstrate why the scene remains so memorable. Perhaps the most emotional difference between the anime and manga versions of Light's death involves Ryuk himself. In the anime, Light's death is tragic and almost poetic. The scene focuses on memories, regret, and the inevitable consequences of his actions. The manga, however, presents a much harsher reality. When Light realizes that he has lost, panic takes over. The confident mastermind disappears. The self-proclaimed god vanishes. In his place stands a terrified young man desperately begging for survival. Light pleads with Ryuk. He asks for help. He wants more time. He wants another chance. He wants to live. For many readers, this moment is shocking because it reveals something that had been hidden beneath years of arrogance, fear. Despite all his talk about becoming a god, Light fears death just as much as anyone else. Ryuk watches the scene unfold. And according to many interpretations, he appears disappointed, not angry, not emotional, just disappointed. For years, Ryuk had been entertained by Light. He watched one of the most intelligent humans he had ever encountered challenge detectives, manipulate governments, and reshape the world. Light was fascinating because he constantly acted with confidence. Yet at the end, Ryuk witnesses something completely ordinary. A human being afraid to die. Some fans believe this moment changed the way Ryuk viewed Light forever. The great Kira, the god of the new world, reduced to begging, reduced to fear, reduced to humanity. And perhaps that realization made Ryuk lose some of the admiration he once had for Light's determination. But what if death itself was not the end? What if something awaited Light beyond it? This idea leads us into one of the darkest fan theories ever associated with Death Note, the repeated death theory. Unlike the Shinigami theory, which imagines Light continuing his existence, the repeated death theory imagines endless punishment. According to this theory, Light experiences every death he caused, again, and again, and again, forever. The theory is entirely fan-created and has no official confirmation. Yet many people find it compelling because of how closely it reflects the themes of justice and consequence. Light witnesses the consequences. The process repeats endlessly. The theory becomes even darker when fans attempt to estimate how many deaths Kira may have caused. Some unofficial calculations suggest numbers reaching into the tens of thousands or even beyond. Again, none of these figures are officially confirmed. However, if such numbers were accurate, the scale of punishment imagined by this theory would be unimaginable. Every death, every fear, every final heartbeat, experienced personally,